Today I'm going to be showing you guys the differences between the Logitech Pro X Superlight 2 mouse versus the Razer Viper V2 Pro. Both of these mice are going to be esports grade and they're similar in many ways. I'll be showing you guys the primary differences between both of these mice, that way you'll know exactly which one is right for you. And at the end of this video, I'll share with you my personal recommendation on which of these two mice I would personally go with. So the next difference between both of these mice is of course going to be its design. You can see that the Logitech Superlight 2 mouse is going to be a lot more simple and sleek. There's not going to be much complicated shapes here. Everything is very simple and I love that look. And the texture of the mouse is also going to be very fine and smooth. So overall, Logitech has the cleaner look. Now the Razer Viper V2 Pro on the other hand is going to look a lot more aggressive and busy. You can see a lot of these multi-angle lines, a lot of sharp cutouts, a very rigid scroll wheel with a lot of texture. Even the side buttons have very aggressive cutouts. However, the texturized grip is going to be much more grippy than the Logitech. And here's a side-by-side comparison on what both of these mice look like and their design aesthetics as well as the texture differences. Me personally, I'm a bigger fan of the Logitech design just because I prefer the more minimalist look. However, it is going to be much slippier in terms of the actual comfort though. I think Razer does feel more comfortable because it has that texture and it gives my palm an easier grip and it doesn't feel like it's trying to slide away from me when I actually hold it. Unlike the Logitech, when I hold this thing, it really feels like it's just trying to slip away from my hand. The grip isn't necessarily going to be a deal breaker because that brings us to our next difference, which is going to be the included grips. The Razer is going to come with the sticker pack where you can attach the stickers onto the mouse, and the Logitech is also going to have a sticker pack. So you're not really going to have slippage issues with either of these mice, but there is going to be a difference in the actual sticker grips themselves. If we take a close look at these grips, you can see there is going to be a difference. The Razer here has a lot more texture on it, and the Logitech one is going to have a more smooth matte finish. Both of these grip packs are going to feel rubberized, but the Razer one has a little more texture, and you can really see it in the camera angle here. And just for comparison, the Logitech is pretty much flat. So I would say either of these aren't really a deal breaker. They both have a very nice grip and it's going to prevent any of that slippage. So I would say there's not going to be any slippage issues with either of these mice if you do attach either of these stickers on the mouse. So the next difference between both of these mice is going to be the weight, and it's going to be a very small difference. Basically, the Razer is going to come in at 58 grams and the Logitech is going to come in at 60 grams. It's only going to be a 2-gram difference. 2 grams is such a small difference. I think most people won't notice that. So if that's kind of a deciding factor for you, I wouldn't really let it be because I would focus more on the other features that both of these mice actually offer. Now the next difference between both of these mice is going to be their sizes. I'm going to leave some text on the screen here that shows the differences. There are some subtle differences, but they're essentially the same size. The main difference between the sizes in these mice is the Logitech is going to be 3 millimeters slimmer and the Razer is going to be 3 millimeters smaller. So not really a deal breaker for either of these mice. I would say they're pretty much in the same tier in terms of mice sizes. And the shapes are pretty much going to be identical as well. So whether you're a palm gripper, claw gripper, fingertip gripper, both of these mice are going to give you a very similar posture when in use. So the next difference between both of these mice is going to be their polling rates. The Logitech is going to be capped out at 2K hertz and the Razer is going to be capped out at 4K hertz. 4K sounds like a much better deal than 2K, like double the hertz, double the performance, but in reality, you really can't tell the difference between 2K and 4K. At least I can't. They feel pretty much identical to me, and I think that's why Logitech actually included 2K, because no one can really tell, and it's actually going to be better for your CPU if you do use mice with smaller polling rates, because if your computer is really taking up a lot of energy just to keep up with the polling rates, you're probably going to have less performance from your computer lag and causing you to play worse rather than the polling rate actually being lower. So I think it's totally fine to have 2K hertz as a polling rate with Logitech. I wouldn't chase the polling rates as a deciding factor if you're trying to choose either of these mice. Now the next difference between both of these mice is going to be the DPI settings. The Logitech here is going to have a maximum DPI of 32K, and the Razer Viper V2 Pro is going to have a maximum DPI of 30K. And DPI, I would say, is going to be similar to polling rate. I wouldn't chase the highest DPI setting because all DPI does is adjust your sensitivity, and in reality you're not really going to need anything way too high or way too low. Both of these mice are going to have good polling rates with a good range of DPI for you to choose the speed that you wish. Now the next difference between both of these mice is going to be the power and battery life. The Logitech here is going to last you for up to 95 hours, and the Razer Viper V2 Pro is going to last you for up to 90 hours. So that's going to be a 5-hour difference. So again, this is such a small difference, I really wouldn't let that be a deciding factor either. And I believe the reason there is going to be a difference in battery life is mainly because the Logitech has the hybrid optical switches and the Razer has the regular optical switches. They're essentially the same thing, except this one conserves a little more battery, but they feel very similar. And that brings me to my next difference between both of these mice, and that's going to be their switches they have built in. The Razer has regular optical switches built in, and the Logitech has the hybrid optical switches. And here's a click difference for you guys to hear what they sound like. So as you can tell, there is going to be a difference in sound, but they are both using optical switches. However, Logitech is using the hybrid, which is going to help conserve that battery life. In terms of pressure required in order to click either of these mice, I would say they're both the same. They just both create a different sound when you're actually clicking the mouse switch. Now the next difference between both of these mice is going to be their cables. The Razer comes with this nice braided cable, which is really going to be great for sliding around on your desk as it's in use if you accidentally bump into it, or if you're using it in wired mode. And the Logitech, on the other hand, only comes with a silicone cable, which you can use the mouse in wired mode, but with silicone, it's really going to create more resistance and could mess up your gameplay. The receivers are going to look a little different. The Razer has a taller one, while the Logitech has this slimmer one, but they essentially both do the same thing. So those are the main features that are different between both of these mice. I didn't cover all of the small things and like minor specs, but these features that I covered, you'll notice them if you're using the mouse on whether they're present or they're missing. Now, as far as which mouse I would go with personally here, I would personally go with the Logitech Pro X SUPERLIGHT 2 mouse. The reason I would go with the Logitech over the Razer is mainly because I prefer the Logitech software over the Razer, and I also like the aesthetics of the Logitech mouse as well. And with that being said, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.